And hello. And hello, it is me, it is that D-O-double-G, and welcome, one and all, to the Absolute Football Podcast. And today, this could be the greatest day of our lives. Before it all ends, before we run out of time, Sam, stay close to me. Hold on. Dan, stay close to me. Hold on. Watch the world come alive tonight. Stay close to me. And tonight, this could be the greatest night of our lives. Let's make a new start. The future is ours to find. Can you see it? Can you see it in my eyes? Can you feel it now? Can you hold it in your arms tonight? That's right, everybody. It is here. Embrace.
Burnley need that team talk, Josh. Burnley need that team talk. Give it the
Shakespearean. You're like a Shakespearean Sean Dyche.
It's so full of piss and vinegar. That's what it is. But good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And as you can tell, and as I said, Sam, will you stay close to me?
I will. I was glad you introduced me that way. And I'm talking of piss and vinegar. Sam, how are you? Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. Your high notes were extremely impressive.
Beautiful. And again, Dan, will you stay close to me?
Forever and always.
Oh, that is beautiful. And not with us this evening, but with us in spirit and in the chat is the one, the only Charlotte. Charlotte, thank you for joining us on your birthday. Now, you get a choice, Charlotte. You can either have this evening, because of the way the audio works, if we all try to sing together, it all just goes all the cock. I've decided you could either have Sam return you the favour, or I could sing you happy birthday in the operatic stylings of Pavarotti. You can decide. Let us know in the chat. Once you let us know, we can get rocking and rolling. But in the chat as well, we do have Spenny Fan Chris. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you're doing well. And there is where else have we got? We got Simon. Simon's in the chat as well. I'm shattered. I'm absolutely shagged out immediately. And Simon wants a bit of the Luciano Pavarotti. Luciano. Do you know, every time I think of that word, have you ever seen The Royal Family, when the grandmother moves in and she's living and he's reading her dirty stories to him and he's going, Luciano, will you touch me, Luciano? That's all I can think of. And look at that. Charlotte wants Team Josh, my musical buddy.
Good selection.
Good. All right, let me just get myself all psyched up. In the operatic stylings of Luciano Pavarotti. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlotte. Happy birthday to you.
Beautiful. Lovely. Stadium tours, we await.
Music, buddy.
I have not brew left. You bust my glass.
You bust me brew.
I tell you, they all love me brew. And Charlotte enjoyed that. There you go. Clip it, save it, play it when you're feeling down in the dumps. Special just for you. And but we're not just here to sing songs and quote take that. No. Because I'm here with my dear friend Sam. Let's start off with. You must have enjoyed winning Manchester United 2, Everton 0. How did that make you feel?
Wow. I didn't know we were coming to that first. So, yeah, it makes me feel ready. Yeah. Manchester United, the result made me feel good. The performance was trash. Not getting away from it. 2-0 on paper is a nice win at home, but it wasn't... I don't think it was a fair score at all on Everton. It was very similar to how Man United actually played in games like the Bournemouth game where we got trashed at home. If Everton could finish or make a good decision in the final third / not make silly tackles in their own penalty box, we would have been in real trouble because, my God, we couldn't pass the ball to save our lives out of the back. Absolutely shocking. I mean, Casemiro didn't have his best game. I think it's fair to be said. He wasn't great, but we got the job done. It's 3 points. That's about as positive you can kind of take at the minute. It was lunchtime. It was Saturday. We won. Tottenham Villa played on the Sunday. Yeah, it was good. Not one I would replay and watch again, but
you didn't lose.
You've got to take the positive.
That's always nice. I mean, the one I think there's only the one contentious issue was the foul on Garnacho. Were you having that?
Yeah, I thought. To be fair, I thought they were both penalties. I mean, yeah, he's over exaggerated it. He's given it the big. He's got up quickly after the tackle, but they were both silly. I thought they were both silly tackles to make. Yeah. They're both nonsense. The first one was he just got done by the Garnacho's quick feet, and the second one, Garnacho wasn't really going anywhere. He was kind of drifting across the box, and Godfrey stepped out. And Garnacho was the one guy who looked lively and he's quick on his feet, and it just didn't need to do it. I think so. Garnacho obviously made the most of it, particularly the first one. But for me, yeah, I thought penalties for me. And there were good penalties we took as well. I mean, Bruno's penalty was excellent in the bottom corner. And then we switched it to Rashford because that's what we do. We do things at times for reasons. And we did, and it worked. So 2-0, there you go.
Do you know what? The only thing I will say, I mean, first of all, Garnacho, yes, I agree that was a penalty. I almost feel like he should get yellow carded for the way he fell over. I was like, I'm really hurt until you give me the penalty. Then I'm fine. Then I'm okay, Mom. So I'm not a big fan of that. But what I am definitely not a fan of is that stupid stuttering penalty run up. Nothing makes me want to smash someone with a hammer more than when they go, am I coming? Ooh. That frustrates the balls off me. What's happened to the Alan Shearer style of running up and just smashing it in the top corner? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it?
To be fair, though, the one that he didn't stutter as much as he normally does the jump. It's the little jump that he kind of has that he's kind of cut out a bit. But I thought the way to do it that way and to strike it that way, you have to get it perfect. Because particularly with the side foot, there's no hiding place. And Pickford went the right way. If he didn't have that perfect, it would have been saved. So, yeah, it's I'm not a big fan. I like someone, but I've seen people do that style and absolutely smash it into the crowd as well. So it's a bit of both, isn't it? If you're clever enough and you can get away with it, do it. It's all part of the game. If everyone was the same, life would be boring, wouldn't it?
My only issue with it is the goalie has to stand there like this. He's not allowed to do nothing, because if he dares to have any sort of movement, then you've got to retake the penalty. And I'm not a fan of that. I think if you're allowed to what are you going to do? You should get that little space in front of him that he can move out, like the rule used to be when you actually do Dex save that with just the wildest encroachment of any penalty you've seen.
Dancing around the line. What happens now is you just get someone like Darwin Núñez doing it in the goalkeeper's eye line. That's how you do it. Darwin was showing him what he used to be able to do.
No, as a sidebar, we'll come on to Darwin Núñez in the Liverpool game, because that was a good one. That was good. I mean, Dan, Everton, as Sam said, multiple chances. They seem to be. Well, I'm getting called out here. So I always, don't you worry, mate. There's no lilies being gilded over here, my friend.
Get off that fence.
Yes, gilderless. But yeah, Everton created a lot of chances consistently all season. Why can't they finish? As a man supporting a team that can't finish, why can't Everton finish? Sorry.
You know what? I think I'd rather take that as a positive over piss and vinegar, to be honest. So I will take it. But no, it's true. It is true. The thing is that Dash was always sort of that style of manager anyway, where defensively, even when he was at Burnley, came in to sort the defence out. Because under Eddie Howe, we was coming up against teams, and it was a case of, well, if you score 3, we'll score 4. That's what Dash were brought in to do. Stop. I think we saw it on Sky Sports. Actually, someone's kid dressed up as Sean Dash for World Butt Day to stop the ball going in from one end, get it in the other end. However, they're not doing that. But yeah, it's always going to be a struggle. Always going to be a struggle for teams like Everton. But they've got the players to finish. It's just that I don't know. It's bad when Neil Maupay goes back to Fleming, Brentford, and he's scoring for fun, but yet stick him in a blue shirt, and it's almost like there's no net at the opposite end of Goodison Park. Because
it's not as, like I said, if they weren't fashioning chances, you could understand, but they're chances are plenty. The chances are plentiful, but I mean, Beto, are you taken by Beto? Are you bowled over by him?
Not really, but then yet again, is it one of those where just first season he's trying to get his feet, find his feet a little bit? Maybe next season we'll see a bit of an emergence from him. We do get that sometimes players come in and you expect them to hit the ground running, especially in the Premier League. But yeah, for me, it was weird even just seeing Sean Dash make a signing from from a foreign team, to be honest. So to even sign Beto was a bit like, eh? Was his missus meant to tell him to shop at Netto, but instead he ended up getting Beto instead, and it's just
Betts. He thought he was Steve Betts. That's what he thought he was signing there. And people who are watching us live, of course, this is live. I'm at 8:30 on YouTube and Twitch, which allows you to take part and interact in the chat. And Spenny Fan is keeping us up to date. With the Chelsea-Newcastle game. Apparently, it is 1-1. Nicholas Jackson scoring the first goal in the 6th minute for Chelsea, but Alexander Isaacs on the 43rd minute is equalised. And as a sidebar,
very good finish. Chelsea mucking around with it in midfield. What a surprise!
Who would have thought that one of the most expensive midfields would cause such mayhem? But I mean, as a quick prediction, as a one word, I mean, Sam, for Chelsea or Newcastle?
What, for this game?
Yes, this game.
For this game, I'm going to go with, I think Newcastle, actually. I think Newcastle. Chelsea had a period, I've been watching bits of it, so I think 1-1 was about fair from what I've seen so far, but I just don't trust Chelsea. Not Newcastle away from home's not great, but Chelsea just, no. I'd take a draw from what I'm looking at it, because Newcastle are behind United, so we're dealing in these mid-table regions this season, so...
It's good. So, you got a part of the table to get really excited about where you're sitting at the moment. Embrace it. Lots more involved there. And,
lots of people around us. It's very friendly in the middle.
It's lovely. It's lovely. It only takes one chance in the middle. That is, I can't remember this. Jimmy Eatwild. Check it out. Dan, Chelsea, Newcastle for you.
I think it will finish at Desmond 2-2. I'm going to sit on the fence.
Oh, not quite. And Simon in the chat.
I'm prepared for the splinters. I'm prepared for the splinters in the butt cheeks. I will sit on the fence.
And I'll tell you at the end of the show who I think. You can guess who I think is going to win. But yeah, and Simon's there behind Newcastle. Spenny Fan is enjoying Jimmy Eatwild. You knows it. And Kate is saying, don't change the habit of a lifetime, Daniel. Are you a fence sitter or do you just like having splinters in your bum?
Yeah, just splinters in my ass. Simple as that.
What a life. What a time to be alive.
Normal people call it acupuncture, but
who needs it? I call it foreplay. And the next game we'll look at. I mean, did anybody catch the Tottenham Villa game?
I saw the highlights because, to be honest, what was rude was the fact that they put that Super Sunday on Mothering Sunday, so I had to choose between the two games, unfortunately. So
for a minute there, Sam, I thought you was going to say I have to choose between watching the football or it's Mother's Day. Maybe I should go see the family.
I did have a choice, kind of. I considered
watch it on his phone as he's driving. And Kate in the chat, she's going with Newcastle in as well. And look at that. Isn't that lovely? Everyone's speaking to each other in the chat. What a beautiful, beautiful culture there. But I mean, very quickly then. So Aston Villa 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4. Daniel, quickly, how did that one make you feel?
Bit of a shocker, really, because you don't expect Spurs to go hard hitting against teams. And for Villa at home as well, have been very, very decent. I think obviously that sending off sort of tarred the game a little bit. Are you really reckless and rash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a stonewall red. There's no way about it. It doesn't look like he's got any intent for the ball. But
wasn't it?
That's just John McGinn for you, though. He plays with his arse out all the time. Anyway, he's always sticking his arse out into getting to challenges. But Spurs were ruthless, and I always said that as soon as they get rid of Kane, that's when Spurs will come alive, and they have.
Sonny's goal was good, wasn't it? I did enjoy that.
Yeah,
I enjoy obviously. as a fellow Welshman, I like Brennan Johnson scoring because that's always nice. But Timo Werner scoring as well. Oh my Oakville fruit days. But James Maddison, I mean, the slight uptick in form seems to coincide with Madders being back. I mean, Dan, how vital do you think he is to the sort of style that they want to play?
Massive. He's got that attacking intent. It's almost like he's filled that void that Heung-min Son sort of had, when he was playing second fiddle to Kane. Now Maddison's sort of there supplying Son and vice versa. But for me, the Maddison signing when he went to Spurs just made sense. It was the perfect club for him to go to. But yeah, I was just about to say what Simon says. He's got that sort of Coventry bad boy about him. I know they say Bombay bad boy, but I'll go Coventry bad boy. If it makes Simon happy.
Coventry bad lad. I mean, Sam, I don't know how much of you saw, but I mean, Emery went for a different formation. He dropped the sort of 5 at the back there and tried to push Leon Bailey and Watkins up front. I'm assuming for a bit more pace. Why do you think that made sense, or are you a big fan of changing your style to suit your opposition, or do you think you should stick to your own strengths?
I think you always have to give a credence to what your opposition's doing and type of game. But I do think at home against teams, okay, Tottenham are good, but it's not unless you're playing like a Liverpool, a City, as someone who's dominating in that fashion that you think, okay, I need to be a little bit careful. I need to deal with this threat. I need to deal with that threat. Then, yeah, particularly when you're playing so well. I mean, the only thing I can think of with Villa is they've obviously lost Kamara. Kamara's a big miss for them in the centre of midfield. So he's having to immediately make changes to kind of accustom for that, isn't it? Bailey's been fantastic. But still Villa, even though the bits that I did see, they got caught with a high line, didn't they? That, first goal gave them a high line and they gave the ball away towards the end. And that's Villa's downfall. When it goes bad, it seems to go really bad. They had obviously a couple of results where this season that's happened. A goal happens, 2 goals can happen. They get caught on that ball. So I don't mind a change. I just don't think Villa needed to. Maybe they should have said, no, you deal with our problems. You deal with us, rather than it's particularly at home. I find that's a little bit maybe too negative. I think I almost got the sense because Villa are that far ahead of Spurs, it was a we don't want to lose game rather than we're going to go out and put this to bed. We'll take a draw here, so therefore let's be a little bit more pragmatic. And I think Villa are at their best when they're attacking and they go at teams, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bit strange when you build a team to play a certain way and then like retract into something else. And yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, in the chat we've got Claire, handsome bunch. Wow.
She's got a screensaver on.
Yeah, either that or she's watching 2 podcasts at the same time and put the comment in the wrong one.
She's looking at that gif of the Bee Gees I put out last night. That's what that is.
That's what she's thinking.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my one. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk.
It's all right. It's okay. Here is Jen. Anyway. Jen, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Claire, for joining us as well. I mean, Dan, while you're hitting the high notes, West Ham 2, Burnley 2, you scored goals, you got a point. How did that make you feel?
Shite. Still made me feel shite. Because how do you chuck a 2-0 lead away? I mean, it's embarrassing. You know full well that you've had an extra day to prepare. You've seen that Sheffield United and Luton have also got points. So you're thinking, right, something's got to give if you want to get yourself out there. A win would have put us 5 points behind Luton, and we fluffed it. We resorted to stupid Sunday League naive tactics. I think Vincent Kompany or Josh Brownhill must have nudes of Vincent Kompany on his phone for him to come on in the second half in the 47th minute, and then a minute later they get back into the game. It was just, I watched I was at work, but I had it on my phone in the corner, perfectly legal, of course. And yes, I mean by watching stuff at work, by the way. And then obviously, first I was just shocked. I'm like, oh my God, we're actually doing really, really well. We were playing well. We had West Ham on the back foot. And then second half, like I say, we just opened up in the midfield. Josh Brownhill came on. There was gaps. And then, yeah, West Ham could have won it in that final 8 minutes of added time themselves. It's it's shocking. But I think the thing that hurt the most was just how Company weakened us. His substitutions were absolute. I'm going old Gary Barlow like you earlier, Josh. Now his substitutions were absolutely awful. But it was just they're embarrassing. They're honestly embarrassing. It's the wrong substitutions. Went defensive at the 67th minute, and you're thinking, right, mate, there's a big chunk to play here, and you're a team that can't even defend. So why are you going to go extra defensive when you're struggling to defend in the first place? So yeah, arse fell out, substitutions all wrong, and I'm supposed to be happy with a point, but it's 2 points drop for me. We were the better side over 45 minutes, but games aren't won in 45.
Oh, they're not, because you know what happens after that 45? There is another 45, the continuance of the game.
Yeah.
Just it's heartbreaking. I mean, clear in the
chat.
One
rule that they don't change every season, they change the rules. Why can't they just keep it to 45 minutes? God's sake.
I know they change loads of mental shit all the time. Just why not? I can always tell you Burnley doing what Burnley do, eh? Hey, and Simon saying, but at least he'll be a great addition to the Crazy Ganthers. I might want to keep him. I might not let him.
Yeah, we make the rules on this podcast. There's no relegation. Yeah. Relegation is banned this season.
This is a Super League. Jed saying being an only fan must hear it right now. Does it hear it?
Yeah,
Are you hurting,
it
Daniel?
does. It does, yeah. Especially after the season we had last year, to come up, have the eyes of the world starting to look at us and thinking, just maybe we're actually going to do something, be comfortable. And all we seem to do is just let every single team put us over their knee and spank the shit out of us. So it just is. It's just one of them. I mean, Heather's in the chat as well. Sheila's in. Last week when we got beat off Bournemouth, just how dreadful we were. We just let teams don't even have to get out of first gear. It's poor. We should have got something at the London Stadium. It's as simple as that. But again, nothing's changing. And companies trying to deflect the answers as well in his press conferences. All we want is some honesty.
Vincent, just be honest. Just be honest, Vincent. Which is a bit of a gangster name, isn't it, really, Vincent? I can't imagine him being too honest with a name like that. Claire wants to fight us for you, Daniel. I ain't fighting Claire. Do I look mental?
No, we're not having no. Don't fancy none of that. No.
I don't want none of that smoke.
You've just signed yourself up there, Josh. There'll be a picture next week of the fight between Anthony Joshua and you on the floor and Claire over Anthony Joshua. Where's Claire? Oh, there she is, beating Josh in a ring to win Dan for Thursday night show.
I mean, before we move on to West Ham, Simon's saying, do you think sacking Dyche when he got relegated was the right decision?
Yes, but wrong timing. Wrong timing. Should have done it straight after the Norwich. Straight after the Norwich defeat, because we beat Everton, and then thought just maybe we'll go on a run and stay up. And then we went to Norwich. Heads were a little bit like, we're up now. We've won it. We've beat Everton. It is what it is. And then we just again, it's just bad. Too much has changed. I keep telling you guys that things change, but we've changed way too much to the point now where it's like, right, sometimes you've got to, bring it back. Look at what Forest did. Forest did that. They thought about changing it way too much. And then
you got to bring it all back to you.
Exactly. Don't stop. Never give up.
And dream of falling in love. All the things you've been thinking of. Heather's in the chat. Where's Heather? Hello, Heather. Thank you for joining us. And we've also got the Talking Gas podcast. Thank you for joining us as well. I mean, Sam, let's give a little bit of love to West Ham, though. Paqueta. Lovely game. And also Danny Ings doing things with Ings. What did you think of West Ham?
Danny Ings is back, and so is Lucas Paquetá. So sell your car to Lucas Paquetá because he's here for you. David Moyes, I think, he reacted at half time. I think he got it wrong. I was a bit surprised. And I think I saw some chat from West Ham fans before the game began as well. He picked Phillips over Alvarez in midfield. Big trouble. And then he switched up at half time. I think he brought Alvarez on, and was it Antonio as well? He changed it up a little bit. Yeah. And it just, what I saw highlight was, they sort of flooded and started to flood very quickly. And it was two bad defensive errors, really. Well, the first one in particular, they got caught and Paquetá ran through. But also the one with, because Ings had a disallowed goal as well, hadn't he? And he almost won it in injury time off the crossbar. So Ings was only on 8 minutes, and the man was on absolute fire.
The thing is, he's up against a former club. He's like, he's got a point to prove. And from what I heard from Burnley as well, we got offered his services in January, and we said no because he's like 30 odd, and he probably can't keep up with what company needs or wants.
On these. I mean, you can still see that there's a finisher there. I mean, the finish was
pair of hairy chuds. That guy talks a load of bollocks.
To his company, but not here. It was, I thought Danny Ings, you could see the finisher still in him. I mean, Burnley stood off him, didn't they? That he got far too much space to turn for that goal, but it was excellent. And we also didn't give love, to be fair, to give some love to Burnley. What a strike by Fofana. Jesus, that was a stunning finish in the first half, to be fair. So, and
he couldn't have timed it any right though, Sam. Couldn't have timed it any worse. So obviously the stream's a little bit dodgy while I'm at work anyway.
No.
So it sort of started buffering as it's like hit and come out, but from range on a phone, and I'm watching it at distance. I'm thinking, I've just gone, yes, like in the middle of a kitchen, and then thinking, I'm going to look a right fool now if this is smacked off the crossbar and gone out, because it hit it with that much ferocity. It hit the back of the net and came back out again. But it were an absolute, like you say, it was an absolute wonder strike.
He smashed it. It was a brilliant finish. And then, I was thinking at 2-0 up, I'm thinking, Burnley are 2-0 up. Dan's coming on the podcast on Monday. It's going to happen. We're going to get a win for Dan. And then I think, because the second half I was watching the Liverpool City game, and it did the old score update in the corner. It went, West Ham 1, Burnley 2. Went, oh no. We all see where this is going. We all know what's going on there.
Even Fabrizio Romano sat there going, here we go, in a completely different concept.
I mean, I got to be honest. So I've played a bit of football with my son over the weekend, and I felt a bit like Danny Ings reminded me of me when you're playing against your boy, like, hey, give me the ball, look at this. Whoa. That's the sort of time and space that he had, that he could do these flash things that in reality you wouldn't do. I mean, take it out the chest, and the way he bent that ball over. His
body was in an unnatural position as well to get to it. Our right back, it's the one thing that bugged us was in those dire minutes we took really silly yellow cards, which was, Assignon just, ball's gone out of place, so he's picked it up and walked away with it and then thrown it back out. And that's the only reason why he didn't manage to stick to his man, put in a challenge, because he thought, if I do that again now, I'm going off, I'm being sent off. So he wasn't strong enough. Obviously, ball forced to Ings, and again, good finish, can't fault it.
And Calvin Phillips, Sammy mentioned, substituted off. A lot of talk that he's destroyed himself, a worst signing of the season. Obviously, for me, that's a little bit premature. That's more premature than I used to be in my youth. But it's a bit harsh. And do you think he needs game time? Surely.
Well, he has, because he hasn't played for, what was it, City 2 years, wasn't he? So it's just completely taken out. And suddenly it's one thing to come in, play a 90 minutes here and there, but to kind of consistently play, he's trying to find his feet. And he's also been finding his feet in a West Ham side that, to be fair, until a few weeks ago, weren't playing very well at all. They're still, and then they've kind of won 2, drawn 1 recently. But before that, I think there were 6 without a win. They were missing players like Paquetá coming back in. The structure wasn't the same as earlier West Ham. So he's coming in. It's always difficult to come into a side that's kind of a couple of players are out and they're trying to find positioning, particularly in that sort of centre midfield hole. And then he made a couple of mistakes early, so it killed his confidence. And it's just, this is what someone says, the worst sign in a long time. You've got to give it time. If it's at the end of the season and he continues to do this, then you go, okay, there's enough proof in this kind of pudding, but got to give him some time to come back. That the Calvin Phillips that was at Leeds was a good player and can do things and can offer you something in the right midfield setup. Maybe that's the other thing as well. Just the setup doesn't work. They've got to find the right combination, because you've got Alvarez. in there. Can you have Alvarez and Phillips? I'm not sure if you can. Then you've got Ward-Prowse and Souček, but then Paquetá's back and you want him in an attacking position. It's a lot to fit in, I think.
They're midfield heavy, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. It's
and
going to
when
take
you
some
add
time.
in Jared Bowen.
Yeah, and Jared Bowen you got coming off, and Kudus, off of the left. And then they kind of when they brought Antonio on, they changed it up. So it looks like Moyes has got to find how is best and what's the best partnership. But there's players in there that I think are good players. You don't want to drop. Do you want to drop Ward-Prowse? Do you want to drop Alvarez? You don't want Paquetá not in that side. Souček he loves. I mean, he'll play Souček until the day he dies, David Moyes. So I don't know with Phillips.
That's his Fellaini.
It's Fellaini.
Oh God,
Fellaini's back.
Fellaini.
Phillips, I think I think it will be this. I think he might struggle but when he gets the chance, he's got to take it. That's the issue, isn't it? He's got to take it, and he's not been taking it.
I do feel for him. And Mr. Luke's in the chat. All right, Mr. Luke. Thank you for joining us, sir. I think we'll go a little bit easy. We'll change the mood a little bit. Crystal Palace won. Luton Town won. Sam, how did that make you feel? Look at that timing.
It made me feel good. Luton got a point. I'm all for Luton points in this relegation battle for sure.
God, you are.
If you pick points up as well, Dan, I'll be with you.
Yeah, I don't even drive, but that's the only time I'd get points.
It's like company's got more points than his license. Come on,
exactly.
I was pleased for them because they'd had a really rough run, hadn't they? I think they had Villa, Liverpool, United. They had that poor result at Sheffield United, so they kind of had a bit of then to get a nice 90 plus winner, and I think that's massive for Luton because away points are going to be huge. Home points they need to obviously win home, but anything you can get away from home in that relegation battle is always a Brucey bonus, isn't it? And Palace had picked up a little bit with Glasner in the first few weeks, so I think that's a really good point for them. Really good point.
God, and I love that battling spirit they've got. And I think I was watching Rob Edwards at the end, who I think might have watched us the other week. He seems to be starting to grow the muzzle back a little bit. He's starting to come through. Maybe that's Charles' birthday present. He's letting that come through. Give him another week and it'll really start to show. But he was saying at the end they've had a couple of injuries recently, but they just kept battling, and that's what I'm loving. I am loving it. And how good is Eze?
Eze's good.
Brilliant.
Eze is good, yeah. Be interesting with him, won't it? I think him and Elise, what the long-term view is going to be with them, because it's a bit. Palace have always had that. They had it with Zaha, didn't they? They almost seem to hang on to this player or two for a little while, but Eze's just glides. He glides when he's out here. But I worry about him as a little bit injury prone. Maybe that's my only concern with him. But when he's on it, he's on it.
And I sort of think my marginal concern is similarly to I know it's not quite the same when Zaha moved. It was more of I think it was a cultural shock for him. But do you think another season or so in that team would do him good, or as a Man United fan, you after him?
At the minute, as a United fan, I'm not really after anybody. I'm just trying to see what kind of. I think that's been the problem. We're like, that's the guy, and we end up with it's the old ingredients that don't make anything again. I think that's the problem. Everyone's going, that's like, no, we need this person. We need this person. Yeah, I like him. He's an exciting player. And let's be honest, he's better than a number of the wingers that we've got as options at the minute. So I'd be well happy to take him. But I think it's a question of what's Glasner going to look to do at Palace? Because they're a funny team, aren't they? They've had about 3 or 4 seasons now in the Premier League where they've sat in that 12th, 13th position. So they're well clear of the relegation zone, which is fair play. And it's obviously their plan. But what do you do with that? Because you either go gung-ho to try and get further, and that's when you see teams then maybe have a good season and then completely drop off the face, or lose it completely going for it. Does he believe in the project, and therefore he's the sort of player you build the team? If you can convince him to stay, then you go, right, how do we get the best out of Eze and build around that? But I can't see Palace ever being more than what they are. Do you know what I mean? Unless there's massive investment and changes, it's almost a credit to them that they've stayed out of the relegation battle for so long sometimes. And it's because of players like Eze and Elise. And I think they know that, you lose Eze. If they lost Eze in the summer, immediately we'd probably be thinking they might be in a relegation battle next season. He's that important to them.
Yeah, no, I mean, and by the looks of it, Heather's been doing a lot of Google research, ready for a stalking trip out, because she's stalking up to see Rob Edwards up close on Wednesday. Maybe she's going to be at this gate. She's going to be banging the door, and Jed's asking for pics. She's going to take the pics. She's going to be waiting for his curtain to open. On it like Sonic.
Coordinated podcast chat. Look at that. This is it. Everyone's sticking together for the pictures.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And what is Simon saying? Looking after sit so Rob Edwards and give Watford owners the finger again.
Watford. Don't get me started on Watford. Good job they sent the lower league.
We're not fans.
Save that for Thursday.
And Mr. Luke telling us Palace just your average Premier League side that will just stay just almost mid-table. They're like that almost 16th to 13th sort of position team. I mean, Dan, I don't mean to be an asshole asking you this, but I mean, watching Luton and the spirit and the fight they're doing at the moment, what are they doing that you think that Burnley just aren't? What is it that they've got that you guys haven't at the moment?
Points.
Nicer kit. Twittier manager.
Oh wow, yeah.
Hey, that's it. That sounds like he's against bold people. I won't take that, Josh.
Well, you can't. Well, to be fair, it's Megamind and this.
Yeah,
there's bald heads, and then there's bald heads.
No, I think Luton have done really well. Obviously, the Burnley of old sort of what is what Luton are on now, which is they've gone up, slipped under the radar. Everybody's written them off before they've kicked a ball. Barely spent anything and knew full well that every single game is going to be a cup final, and they've had to play out their skin. It's almost like when you see the FA Cup and it throws up a Prem team against someone from League Two or non-league, and you expect the non-league side to throw 11 men behind the ball and just defend for their lives, but they don't. They actually come out, give it a really good go. That's Luton for you. That is Luton. We can all sit here and say that I didn't write them off, no chance, but we all did. Everybody did. There's not
apart from Charlotte.
Yeah, fair play. But Luton just have something at the moment. They're still riding that wave of promotion. I look at them a little bit like Huddersfield, Blackpool. Came up with not even a point to prove. It's just a case of, well, if you think we're going to be that bad and we play better than expected, then nah. So for once, we've come up with the eyes of the world looking at us because Vincent Kompany and what we're going to achieve. And I think that goes, I think Chris Wilder said something, didn't he, after the game against Bournemouth this week, saying that people have their own little narratives on how teams should be, that Sheffield United are the worst team, Burnley should be achieving, better than what they are, Luton, are basically dross and shouldn't be in the Premier League, etc. So people have these narratives, but Luton, you know what? Fair play to them. I know we're in a scrap with them. Absolutely fantastic achievement by them and Rob Edwards. And personally, if we do go down, I want them to stay up. I'd rather see somebody else come down with us and Luton have another crack at the Prem next season.
No, I concur. I mean, and in the chat, Heather's telling us she's not going to Rob Edwards' house. She's at the game and she's on the pitch for a charity presentation. So this is how Heather's going to get arrested. By trying to subtly give a check to Rob Edwards and kidnap him at the same time.
I'd have put her in my fantasy Premier League team. Should have got me more points than Dom Solanke did at the weekend.
And okay, Ted, Burnley have achieved their greatness or not, bless. Is she looking after you at home? Is she sort of like bathing you and stroking your poor head when you're in tears?
She is. She is. She's looking after me all right. She's asking me, like, sending me messages while I'm at work saying, West Ham have scored again. I'm like, I know, I'm watching it. Leave me alone.
She's like, when you get home, I'll give you a cuddle. I'll run my fingers through the hair and your back.
And then what do? I'd go and load the Xbox up.
I did not know where that was going then. I was like, well, it's our After Dark podcast started, really.
It was the pause I was thinking.
I was torn between saying that or then I rub her hairy back. But then I thought, no, I won't go that far.
It's just as
It's
well.
it turns. One of us plays Beauty one week, the other one plays the Beast the next.
I'm not commenting. I'm not commenting. Like I said, absolutely after hours.
A tale as old as time, mate. A tale as old as time.
True as it could be. Listen, we think we need Char to keep you under control. Generally, there is normally like Charlotte or Hannah or someone responsible to sort of keep us going.
For that reason, exactly.
And talking to people letting themselves down. Bournemouth 2, Sheffield United 2. I mean, Sam, did you catch any of that? But how does that result make you feel?
Yeah, I saw bits, and I think everyone had that kind of down as a home Bournemouth win, didn't it? Because it's Sheffield United, so it automatically goes on the coupon. I was the one playing Sheffield United. And I think, I was one of the many that thought, Dominic Solanke's playing twice this weekend, and he's playing twice this week in FPL against Sheffield United and Luton. We'll have some of that until he missed a penalty, and then also had a goal disallowed. So, no, Sheffield United will be gutted, won't they? I mean, to be 2-0 up, and so both Sheffield United and Burnley 2-0 up this weekend, and that's the difference. Is there are teams in this league that can come back against you in 45 minutes, and Bournemouth are, when they're at it, a good attacking team. But it's writing is well on the wall for Sheffield United, but that 3 points to slip away from them is it just leaves a bad taste for them again, doesn't it? But fair play, Bournemouth fought in. I've been impressed with Bournemouth at times this season, so I think they play some good football. So well, not too disappointed for Bournemouth. Not really too bothered, to be honest, with Sheffield United anymore. But point to point, isn't it? Point to point, something.
I mean, Gustavo scored, which is always nice. But yeah, it's not changed anything. But I mean, I think Bournemouth were better in that second half. They were a bit poo first half, weren't they?
32 shots as well, and then to be fair, keeper did play well. They're just better, aren't they? They're just better. Even Bournemouth weren't at it, and they still had 32 shots. I think they could have done a lot better. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? And their new boy come up late and got the equaliser. Was it Unal? Was it? Unal is his name.
Well, wasn't it that I'm going to say this wrong as well? Watara.
There you go, Shaw. Josh not only does operatic music, but he can also wish you happy birthday in Japanese.
But he scored a lovely header as well. I think that was his first goal in the Premier League as well. That was a marvellous header. I mean, Dan, did you catch any of that? And what happened? What happened in there? In anything that you saw? And if you didn't see anything, you could say nothing happened.
Yeah. To be fair, I just kept checking this. I kept checking the score. I was working, so I had a few football bets on. But when last time I checked, Sheffield United were 2-1 up, and then someone at work told me that Bournemouth had equalised, penalty miss. So I was told about it, but obviously I was happy because it gave us a chance to, coming into the Sunday, try and put that result right. But clearly we just decided to emulate them and surrender a 2-goal lead. Fair play to them. Again, similar to what Sam said though, Bournemouth, you don't know what Bournemouth you're going to get from one week to the next, but they've actually played some really good football. No. Who did they get their first win against? Oh, that's it. Burnley, who just led there, rolled over and got their belly tickled.
Oh, that's another way Dan is pacified at the end of a difficult football weekend. And Heather's helped us at the chat. Unal Enes and Dango Utara.
Dango Utara. Say Dango Utara.
Oh, that could take off. That could take off.
There you go, Heather. You're at the game this weekend. Started off. If we hear it, we know where it's come from. We'll be very, very proud of you. Well done. Moving on. What game shall we rattle through next? I think there's some I just don't want to talk about. I don't like celebrating certain teams doing well, but I suppose we'll get to one of them soon. I mean, Brighton won, Nottingham Forest 0. Not a lot happening really, apart from Forest getting cheated again. Sam, how did that make you feel?
They do like a good. They do look like a good. We've been wronged. I'm getting used to the Nuno "we've been wronged" interview sort of coming up. I mean, yeah, bad challenge, but they can't score at the minute, can they? Really, really struggling. To be fair, Brighton at home. Not many teams pick up points at home against Brighton. They've only lost once all season at home. So that one of all the ones, if they're going to lose 1-0, they'll probably look at it and go, okay, not. But Forest need to start picking points up. They need to start picking points up because Luton are. Everton didn't this week, and they've still got this looming case, haven't they? The looming deductions of doom that sit over some of these teams, with Forest being one of them. So I think Chelsea just scored again as well. Cole Palmer scored again, unbelievable. But yeah, Brighton, they needed that because a really bad midweek, really heavy defeat against Roma in the Europa League has kind of curtailed that, barring miracles in the second leg. So for them, they're now just looking at probably a bit of steadiness in the Premier League. But they've been funny this season. They've had a lot of injuries to the players, and the players that played last season have struggled a little. Not struggled isn't fair, but maybe they just had an exceptional season and struggled to replicate it. Maybe I'm thinking like Matoma. He did have an injury. Estupinian's just come back in, and he's kind of been a bit hit and miss. They've been missing Solly March still, haven't they? That's a big miss for them. And also, Evan Ferguson doesn't seem to be able to score. Fantastic. Just not getting. It's one of those striker runs. He's not getting the rub of the green. And
do you know what I think it was?
Out, but
I think someone said, "Oh, keep going like this. Chelsea might sign you." Balls to that, fucker.
I will dig my heels in.
Let me take the foot off the gas.
No, thank you.
don't need any of that. And join us in the chat, incidentally, is Kieran. Good evening, Naughty Norman. He's in there with us. Dan Forrest. I mean, I think I can't remember if you were on the pod where I came on late and we asked about. Oh, bear with me. Do you know what? Our graphics have already all of a sudden just gone a little bit funky. Let me. I don't know what to say on that. If you're watching on Facebook, something has happened. Something technical has happened. We don't know what it means, so I do apologise if we've dropped off there. And Luke telling us, it's Norman Price of Pontypandy. And but yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about Forest. Are they going to be affected by the points deduction? And I mean, one of the things that for me it was the way that they respond to whatever happens. I mean, the way that they reacted to. A bad refereeing decision, which didn't impact the game. What impacted the game was their inability to defend against Liverpool, but then another refereeing decision going against him. Do you think potentially this negativity is then going to sort of breed and could actually cost them if they do get a point deduction?
Yeah. Tempers could flare. We've already seen the chairman on the pitch. It's not looking great.
Yeah.
That spills onto the players as well. Don't get me wrong, the chairman's obviously, the players may take it as a positive and go, look, the chairman's willing to fight for this club, so are we. I think it all depends on how many points they get as well. So, depending on the points total, they could do an Everton, in terms of turn on the charm and turn on a bit of class in the Premier League, because they started the season really well. Why can't they get that form back? They just need to calm down, forget about where they are in the league, forget about the points system, and try and put some results together. But 3 points off the drop zone. I feel like I'm not privileged enough to say it, but it's not looking good for them.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's a mentality thing. It's a proper mental, and I think that appears to be affecting them quite significantly. I mean, and in the chat we got Kieran, great minds think alike. Cymru and Brith, and another Cymru and Brith. That's right. Welsh and proud. Welsh and proud. I mean, Sam, do you think Forest are going to be able to turn this around, or do you think they're letting themselves down?
They are. Well, they are, because they're getting themselves dragged in, aren't they, to what is going to end up being a very messy situation if they're not careful. So they've got some big games coming up. I was just looking at their fixtures. So Luton away, Palace at home, Fulham at home, 3 big uns. They've also got Everton as well coming up away. That's going to be a huge one. Sheffield United, they're going to be pinpointing. They've got City at home. That's not great. But then the last day, they've of course got to Burnley. We're going to put this unbelievable run together to get out of trouble. So it could all be on that last game. But,
and then I turn the Xbox off and I go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Dan Company has done his job. Burnley have survived. It's a struggle. They're not they're picking up the odd win, but they're all season. I was just looking at their results. Apart from early on in the season where they had kind of a few draws in a row, they've not had more than one result consecutively, not a draw, a win, couple of wins, couple of draws, to just getting beat left, right, and centre. They can score goals, but concede silly goals as well. They concede silly goals. They've had about 17 goalkeepers play this season as well, haven't they? It's not looking good. I don't know if I was going to have it. I think they've got a little bit more up top than Everton have got, but I think Everton play better football. So nice smirk there, Dan. I like that. I think if you could merge those two, you'd have a decent mid-table side. Put a 1 year up front of Everton, for example, and maybe have a bit more of a play the other way. I think you'd be all right, but who knows?
Forest, just behave. Sort your heads out. Go outside. Have a walk. Remember, there's no such thing as the league's corrupt. No one's out to get you in a big conspiracy in the nicest way possible. The FA doesn't give a shit. They don't care if you get promoted or relegated. Doesn't matter. The money's already in their pocket, baby. And do you know, we've got all this Welsh going on. I'm all here. We're still here. But this one lost me entirely. Popeth is all I know at the end, because I used to joke that Welsh for Michael, he was Popeth the Ping, and I used to get people to use that one. What that means, gone, mate. I'd have lost it, mate.
Bulgarian international, isn't he? Bulgarian international.
I'm South Walian. We don't do Welsh properly in South Wales. Kevin might try and put me otherwise, but people who are watching live, it is now, I say now, a while ago, it became Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1, and Sam told us Cole Palmer with a goal in the 57th minute. I think I was leaning towards a Chelsea victory when we made our predictions here. I'm pretty sure that's what I said at the time. Dad was on the fence. Sam went Newcastle, so obviously I just went Chelsea and just
Josh doesn't even sit on the fence. He's just got one of those revolving ones. That just...
I've been playing like Hogwarts Legacy, and you come up to it, you set fire to a ball, and it spins round, and it's like, oh my god, a secret cavern. That's what I'm doing. It was the next line to Amohi. There we are. And Key would say we don't do Welsh very long. I learned Welsh for 8 years. I don't have a clue. Do you know what? I'm that old that Welsh became compulsory in the last year that I was in comprehensive school. That's how old I am. It is now pink. The only thing I remember I learned was to say, Voitin Hoffi coffee. Do you like coffee? Nagu, Voin Hoffi coffee. No, I don't like coffee. Voitin Hoffi oren? I do. Voin Hoffi oren. Do you like an orange? Yes, I like an orange. And I know the word moron is Welsh for carrot, because my son says it a lot when he's bullying his sister, and he'll go, you moron. And I'll go, oi, I'm just saying she's a carrot, Dad.
You come in and ask them if they want a coffee.
Writing Halfy Coffee. And I only know that because they did a song. Writing Halfy Coffee. Nagu my Halfy Coffee. There you are. Welsh with Josh, everybody. Welsh with Josh on today's football podcast. I mean, there was other games that happened. I mean, Wolves beat Fulham 2-1. Sam, they seem to be like one of your favourite teams at the moment. Wolves, you want to tell us a little bit about what went on and how that made you feel?
That was a good result for them because they've got a bad injury crisis at the minute. They had two more go off. They had Pedro, one of my favourites, as you know, Pedro Neto went off. He was injured last week, and then it looks like he's done. He was rushed back a little bit too soon, so he's off. And was it Bellegarde came off as well? They're missing Cunha and Hwang Chan, their top goal scorers, yet still managed to get a result. There's just such a resolving. I mean, if you were to stop the season now, you've got to say that Gary O'Neill's in the contention. Not saying he's manager of the year, but he's in that.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Because Wolves are on everyone's list to be potentially dragged in, particularly with the nonsense going on. You know, they appointed him 5 days before the start of the season or something like that. And we all thought, that's not looking good. They'd struggled in the market. They didn't really, but he's galvanised a really good squad there. And a really good result because Fulham have been playing well themselves. Missed a lot of chances, Fulham, but Wolves took advantage. So a good one. And they're on the cusp. I was looking at the table. They're like 2 points behind 7th, I think. They could be a sneaky European dream.
The sneaky
Knights.
European Wolves with the Wolves. I mean, Sam, Dan. Before we move on, because I don't want to spend all of our time on Wolves Fulham. We've got 2 more big games to go, but it was a good performance by Wolves. And but do you have any input? Do you have any input on this game? Did you enjoy it? Did it make you feel joyous watching another team win?
I like Gary O'Neill as a manager. I actually think he's a decent manager, massively underrated. To be honest, I don't know Heather's thoughts in the chat, but I thought he was unfairly dismissed at Bournemouth after what he'd done on an interim basis. But yeah, that's probably the only positive I take out of this. Wolves, again, were a team that were picking up points at the start of the season. And again, started a bit of in and out with their inconsistency. Fulham, just away from home, are shocking.
And they just seem to be like floating now, Fulham. They don't seem to be. When you start to think, oh, they're looking a bit OP, they'll just win a couple of games and then they're just hovering, aren't they? Just nicely. Just I was going to say like a turd that won't flush, but that's not very nice. That's not how we feel. It's not how we feel about Fulham. That's just an analogy that popped into my head. I'd say Wolves are a good side, but definitely think Coventry have the quality to beat them as they play on Saturday, which that's the FA Cup.
FA Cup final as well, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, and that's a bit of a derby. That's a derby-ish game. I think so. That'll be interesting. So, some of the hardcore Cov fans, I'm sure, will be out threatening to murder some of the Wolves fans, and vice versa, because that's how a Midlands derby game goes. I'm sure. So Simon will be out there with his club. What do they call it? I was what? No, what do they say in the old movies? They used to have that little club that they used to knock people out with. I can't think of the name of it now.
Truncheon.
I was going to say truncheon.
No, there's a proper name. I can't remember. I need to watch some more Peaky Blinders again. I need to get back on the Peaky Blinders, and then I'll remember what that's called then. But that's what they use. If there are any hooligans out there, tell me what word I'm thinking, because it's bugging the pants off.
Tell me your weapon of choice in the chat.
Let me know when you go to riot at the game like an asshole. What do you take with you? Because fighting at the game isn't big, isn't clever, or in life in general. Get a grip of yourself. And things that weren't fun or clever, really. We're getting to the last 2 meaty games. Arsenal 2, Brentford 1. Daniel, how did that one make you feel?
Good win for Arsenal. Needed it. They needed it ahead of, obviously, the Liverpool City clash. It were points on the board, good spirited performance. But like I say, for me, I'm going to keep it short and sweet on that game. Midfield masterclass by the Gunners.
By the Vice Man. By the Vice Man and the son of Odin, Odegaard.
How many times have Arsenal scored late goals this season, though, by the way? They've managed to salvage a majority of their games by scoring so late on.
If you watch Match of the Day, which I don't encourage you to do, get your feed from us. But if you did watch it, they did show a graphic last night where I think Arsenal and Liverpool are both top of points from goals in the last X amount of time. They both got 10 points, I think it was, salvaged in the dying moments of a game. And then this to drop off. Some other teams are playing blue and red and various colours. But yeah, that's a sort of analysis, in-depth analysis that we're giving you that you just don't get in other outlets. I mean, Sam, on top of a midfield masterclass, how did that game make you feel?
Yeah, it was a typical kind of Brentford game. I've seen Brentford against some of the top sides, and they're frustrating pain in the butt cheek. They do this. They kind of find a way to get ahead, and then they make it difficult. I think that United we scored late against them. They did against Liverpool that first half. I think they went 1-0 up. Did you see Tony's cheeky effort, by the way, on the half? That would have been good, wouldn't it? But Ramsdale made up for his shocking mistake in the first half. But
absolute howler that.
Yeah, Arsenal just continue to wave, and their confidence is there again. I think they were a bit shaky before Christmas, but that's 8 wins on the trot. It's breeding confidence. Obviously, they've got a bit of an issue in the Champions League to sort out this week. I was wondering whether that might be a distraction for them, but they needed it. There's no way with Man City playing Liverpool that they could drop points against Brentford this weekend. They needed to put the win on to put themselves in a position. I mean, I thought they've been in a title race since the Liverpool game, to be honest. Having seen some of their performances recently, there's a bit more grit. Rice gives them something else in midfield. And I mean, I know in the past we've given this man a lot of jib on the pod, but Kai Havertz is actually having quite a good season. He's actually he's coming up with some important goals. He's popping up in the moments. He's adding them another dimension, because do you think last season they had Martinelli, Saka, Jesus doing bits, Odegaard. Martinelli's not really doing anything this season. He's been very, very quiet. Trossard's kind of been more the man they've turned to. Jesus hasn't really pulled up any trees either. It's been people like Havertz. It's been Rice coming up with moments as well, as you say. I mean, Rice in that midfield just gives them so much more stability and quality. So Arsenal needed that big wing, because they've got some huge ties coming up. I think Chelsea could be a pain in the bum, because they play better against the better sides. It suits them, and they're going to love to wind Arsenal up, aren't they? And then they've got City as well, which is obviously huge.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of points that we need to touch on that game. Which way round? I was going to do it the other way around, but Alid has dictated which way round we're going to do it. Should Havertz be on the pitch for the winner, or should he have got a yellow card for diving, which is a cheat, which is a yellow card offence, which meant he should have got a second yellow card and sent off? Dan, should he have been there for cheating?
No. I don't get all this yellow card shite for Fleming. Just send them off. If they're going to cheat, send them off. It'd completely just get rid of it. You know, this blue card crap, sod that. Keep that for NHS and getting it to front at queue. Don't bring it into football. Honestly, it doesn't need it. You've already peed around with it too much. He should have gone for me. He should have walked. I don't like diving at all. I don't know whether that's a bold ginger thing. I'm like Sean Dash in that aspect. Just cut diving out. It all needs to be.
Stay on your feet, you bastard.
Yeah.
You bastard. No, that's not Sean Dyche. That's the other Sean, isn't it?
Yeah,
Beanie. That's
Sean Bean. Sean Bean.
Bastard.
Who you talking to, you dirty-eyed bastard?
Go on, tell me winter's coming, Dan.
Hey, this would be YouTube VAR box, and everyone's like, "Crap, we haven't made a decision. We've just been quoting Sean Bean to each other for 5 minutes."
How's it looking back at Stockley Park? VAR coming. Check complete, you bastard. So am I giving it? Whatever you want. Penalty, you bastard.
How did you feel about that one, Sam? Should he have walked for being a dirty, cheating bastard?
Yeah, for me, the dives, particularly the one when you can see that there's no contact and they've thrown themselves. There's no qualms. There's no question. And with VAR, there's no excuse. Wasn't it? Could VAR give the decision, or wasn't there some nonsense they come? I don't know. They make statements up on the fly.
They can't intervene on a yellow card, but they could do clear and obvious, or if they think the referee hasn't got a good view, they can say, "Hey, mate."
The whole thing's just they make it up as they go. I mean, to be honest, the bloke should have got booked that was waving the yellow card as well, the referee. There's all these things, as we say every week. There's that. You watch a game one week and it's not. If they're not going to stamp it out, they need to come out and say, we're just going to allow it, because they say every season we're going to stamp it out and stop it. And then you see nonsense like that. I mean, the thing I did think was, would Arsenal maybe have done the business anyway, potentially, because I think against 10 men, it might have actually Brentford might have opened up a little bit, and it might have helped Arsenal. So I still don't think that Brentford would have gone on to win the game. Sometimes 10 men can have the reverse effect. There's no guarantee just because you're 10 men that means that you're not going to win. But Havertz being the goal scorer himself, the amount of times that happens, it does leave a bad taste in the mouth for Brentford and title rival fans as well.
And that's it, isn't it? You shouldn't have, after the game, we can point at something clear that can be seen as a directly impactful. Because, I mean, as you said, Arsenal might have won. They might have, but you don't know. And that's the problem, is Havertz could have gone off. You know, they could have been really downhearted by it. Brentford could have gone and been buoyant, and Tony could have put one away, and that would have changed and not just changed the game, but changed the title race and be impactful for the rest of the season then. But it's not. That's been impacted by a wrong decision. And I think that's, I mean, people say, we want is consistency. VAR should be allowed to get involved in the case of someone diving. I mean, I think we're at the point where I know everybody says, we shouldn't be VREF in the game. But most of the time over these instances, the play is stopped. And let's be honest, if Sky can get a replay up to you instantaneously where you can see it, why can't the Premier League do likewise? It's not going to add on a lot of time. I'll be honest with you, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with it if someone went, hang on now, whoever the referee was in that game. Hello, Mr. Man. You made a bit of a boo-boo there. Take a gander. That's fine. What's wrong with that? I don't think it's...
The problem is they've got themselves in so many scenarios where they don't... the referee's not making the decision because the referee's going, well, I've got VAR. So actually, I think a lot of it is the easiest decision is for me not to make the decision because they're going to make it for me. They don't want to go against the referee. We had you remember the Mike Dean reveal earlier in the season where he said about, I didn't want to go against. There's undoubtedly the stick by each other mentality. And some of these they don't think are wrong. You know, then they're not seeing it as clear and obvious and something else, and they're thinking it as one thing one week the other, which comes down to the standards and how that's upheld. You know, that's not whatever's going on behind the scenes with Howard Webb and co. Beyond bringing managers every 5 minutes to say sorry, that they're not implementing a consistent approach. So we're getting this every week, and every week you can pick one incident to the next, which fans love to do anyway, and then they calculate their own points. We should have had this. We shouldn't have had this. So remember that game back in August 1993 when we had that, and it's creating that thing rather than we always had conjecture. We always had conjecture over decisions, and it's just VAR's just made it worse because we shouldn't have conjecture over decisions, which makes it even more frustrating. You might as well just go back to having the conjecture over decisions because we're arguing about them every week still. But the case is now we're not even arguing amongst ourselves. We're all arguing towards the standards of what it is. Most of the decisions, when it doesn't involve your team, what I'm seeing out there, people are in agreement going, that's not... You always get, the odd crazies that think...
you've got... And do you know what? Most of the crazies I end up interacting with on Twitter. and I try to have this honest conversation with them, and they're like, no, nothing you're saying makes sense because you disagree with me. But I tell you what I did find. I found a Twitter account. I've just been looking. It's Frankie Scott, it's called. At We're Kicking Off is a football referee under alias, apparently, and author of Sports Psychology for Grassroots Referee. And they said, in reference of it, that it does impact where the offence takes place as well, and that's why they might be leaning on VAR. He said the defensive third, I can be 55% sure it's a free kick, as there's no risk. In midfield, I can be 70% sure, and it's usually fine. If it's in the area, I must be 100%. It's not there are different rules, it's just my level of belief in the decision because of the impactfulness. And that's why I think if you've got VAR there, you're not re-refereeing the whole game. You're just looking at if something's clear and obvious, then you can get them to take another look at it. If they still take a look at it and go, nah, I'm not buying that, then sack them because they're obviously idiots. But yeah, I mean, but the other point from the game that I do want to touch on, obviously, I saw some cracking tweets. Why is Ramsdale starting? Why is he not Jane Mayer? First of all, because Mayer's on loan from Brentford. That's why he's not allowed to play. You mentioned Ramsdale's mistake, but personally, didn't he redeem himself at the tail end? I mean, Dan, some people. I mean, we touched on Ivan Toney's save. He did well, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, not much else to say on it, to be honest.
He did.
He deserves the plaudits to get himself out of a sticky situation. So you've got they're the situations you've got to redeem yourself in. You know, when you've got the eyes of the world watching you every week, you've got to sometimes put it right. We all see players sort of miss spur chances, don't look like they're tracking back, but eventually they get on the score sheet and they'll mute a celebration, put their arm up saying, I'm sorry, hopefully you'll understand that, what I did earlier was wrong. But like I said, sometimes keepers get it wrong. And when they put the world to right,
I mean,
they deserve the plaudits.
I mean, he's a bit of a funny one for me. I mean, Arteta signed him, and people at the time when he got signed were saying, "Oh, well, you're going to get relegated with Ramsdale." And obviously, he had a good season. Obviously, Arteta's not sort of brought into him and dropped him for Raya. But obviously, Raya's on no. At the end of the season, what would you do if you're old Rammers?
It comes to a natural conclusion. I think we've always said this 50-50 thing isn't going to happen. Eventually, they'll have to make a decision. Like, it might work this season that they've got there, but Ramsdale's not going to want to sit around. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, you think probably around 12 months ago, people were starting to say England conversations and things like that. Not even in, definitely not in the conversation at the moment. I mean, Pickford has got that nailed down anyway, but he's going to move. He's got to move. Why would you, at that stage, someone like Ramsdale, he's made the move to be, he was a Premier League goalkeeper before Arsenal. His stock's improved since he's been at Arsenal. I think there's no doubt. I think, yes, there was some question marks, some things back in last season, but he was a good goalkeeper, top goalkeeper last season. And I think other teams will be looking at him. Yeah, exactly. I'd say Heather will know Ramsdale's a million miles better than I think the keeper they've got at the minute. At somewhere like Bournemouth, he could easily get in. But I think a number of players, he'll have to make a decision. But I guess the thing is, I don't know, is the Raya deal, is it linked to a buy option at the end of the season? I don't know what the call is on it. Does he go back? No. Does he? Because that's a decision that they're going to have to make, I guess. It would be very difficult, I think, to take Raya back.
They've got option to buy. Apparently, it's a 3 million loan deal with a 27 option to buy, and it could become an obligation depending if certain conditions are met. Primarily appearances, which unless they said he has to make 50 appearances, then
there's a lot said though. Going back to what you said, Josh, about signing the keeper that's had back-to-back relegations and stuff. Because I look at us when we signed Tom Heaton, been relegated with Cardiff, relegated with Bristol City, and then we got him on a free, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years later, he's being called up to an England squad. So I don't know. At first, I had my reservations on keepers like that, because you start to think, is it that they're not good enough? They don't command their area well. They're not that vocal with a back line, but I don't know. Obviously, Ramsdale's come with a bit of pedigree, hasn't he, at Arsenal? It's just that they keep chopping and changing quite a lot, and it's not going to be good for team cohesion, really.
I mean, as I was looking for the Ramsdale deal, I think this was from the season previously. I think Ramsdale had 2 more clean sheets than Raya, conceded less goals, made less saves, which is typically a good thing. His save percentage, though, was lower. His errors leading to goals were higher. His passes were lower, but his pass accuracy was more. So I think they're so much of a muchness for me. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm sort of thinking Rammers make a move on, go with the flock, my friend. Make like the shepherd and get the flock out of here. And Spenny fan Chris in the chat, Edison out for 4 weeks with a muscle injury. Ooh. That'll teach you to foul footballers in the box. He did it to Garnacho last week and got away with it, which was filthy. He did it with Darwin this week. That will learn you. I don't like players getting injured, but I don't like Edison, so shove it. And apparently, Mr. Luke's dad is losing his proverbial feces now, because it is 3-1 to Chelsea. I told you Chelsea were going to win. Why anyone doubted me with that Chelsea victory? I just got absolutely no idea. Mudrick scored in the 76th minute. It is now 85 minutes. I don't know how much extra time. Sam, do you know how much extra time is? Or have they not quite got
not quite there. 5 minutes to go plus injury time, yeah.
So I don't think Newcastle are pulling this back. According to Google, the win probability for Newcastle is 0.2%. So they're not very confident. So if you did have Newcastle on your coupon and you can cash out, you should have done it a little while ago. But do I have the lotto numbers as well? I'll which lotto? Are the Euro Millions? I'll tell you Saturday. The national, I'll tell you Sunday. The last game, I think that I'm just checking. We've gone through everything we have apart from the biggie on an hour on a quarter. As you can tell, the European roundup's going to be a swift one. Liverpool won, Man City won, I mean, Sam, as someone who enjoys both Liverpool and Man City, how did that game make you feel?
To be honest, it made me feel. I know you were probably stressed watching it, but I was quite stressed watching it. I was trying to cook a bloody Sunday dinner, and you all just play very fast in that game, and nothing stops ever. So I didn't have a moment to compose myself and think about my timings at all. So it was a right stressful afternoon. No, I mean, very, very good game, isn't it? I mean, it's Liverpool. You're like their kryptonite, aren't they? They're the one thing you make them go a bit jelly, particularly at Anfield. They just you never see City like that. In the second half, I mean, I thought first half City just edged it, but a draw wouldn't have been unreasonable. Liverpool came back at them a little bit, but then in the second half, Liverpool just pulled wave after wave after wave. City couldn't get out. It was like teams playing City when you can't get out, and they were punting the ball forward and panicking, and then having the odd moment, but nothing too much. And I look at it overall as a game. It's the two best teams. It's the two best teams, I think, to watch in world football, with maybe Real Madrid on their day can sort of do it. But I've never seen them do it against Man City. Liverpool just have that at them. And at Anfield, against anybody, it's a horrible... Things can go very wrong at Anfield very quickly. But I do look at it and think it's one... you get those games where you think, that's where someone won the title, or that's where that happened. I don't know. This is one of those you don't know whether it's a good point to the end, because I think Liverpool from 1-0 down first half, Man City got it back. There's a narrative there that they'll like, but I think you should have won it. I really do think you should have won it. You had enough chances to win it. And I just wonder whether that's going to go one way or the other when you get to the end of the season. But to be fair, Liverpool dominated them in a way that teams don't dominate Man City. Some fantastic performances out there. Van Dijk looked unbelievable. Unbelievable. He was superb. And that Haaland versus Van Dijk moment, I think the whole world was like, here we go. We've been waiting for this. And it was kind of 50-50.
They're just like, go away, go this way. And Haaland's going, no, I want to get on a goal. No, you're not. Just come down here.
I thought, to be fair, it was level, because he did let Haaland on his left foot, and I think Haaland on fire could have. He didn't quite have the shot, but at the same time, Van Dijk did kind of push him away. So it was. I think they both kind of came out of it, but it was one of those gladiator moments where you get the immovable object. It's the irresistible force. But that was the only time we got to see it, because Haaland then didn't appear. So that was him done. But yeah, 1-1. A good game, excellent game, exciting game. Keeps the title alive. I don't want either team to win the title, so I don't really care.
I mean, we'll get into the controversies in a little bit, but I mean, as a game, Daniel, what did you think of the game? How did it make you feel?
What wasn't a bad game, to be fair. I think it's only the second time in the last 3 seasons that have drawn both of the meetings in the Premier League. But it was a good game for the neutral, especially if you wanted to see two stalwarts of the Premier League absolutely battle it out. I'd say it's quite effective, and I don't know what Sam's face was representing there. Either
an absolute screamer, Jacob Murphy.
I was even thinking it was that, or he's got cramp in his big toe. But I was trying to work out which one it was.
It's a bit of both, Dan. A bit of both.
I thought you were doing the fast show for a minute.
Gee Wills.
That's a clippable moment.
Liverpool should have won that. Liverpool should have won it hands down. City were nowhere near second half. Absolutely dross. But it is what it is. It's more to the point, Josh, how do you feel about it? Because obviously, do you see that as a valuable point, or do you see that as 2 points dropped? Especially with obviously the Doku situation, Doku, however you want to pronounce it. But
I mean, for me, I'll be honest with you, I do think it's 2 points lost, because I think we just were dominating them. It was beautiful to see. And what was really encouraging was that was not our strongest 11. We didn't have our strongest keeper. We didn't have our strongest right back. We didn't have our strongest centre back. We didn't have our strongest left back. We didn't have our strongest striker on the pitch. But yet we still battered the back doors out of their strongest 11, to the point that they took off probably one of the best midfielders in the game for a very long time because he was ineffective and Pep was worried that he was going to cost them the game. So he needed that solidity. That was really refreshing to see. I mean, seeing Quanta, he was just solid. I'll be honest with you as well. I wasn't worried about him playing.
No.
The way that he's been. Bradley, I was a little bit hit and miss because, again, Bradley's played like 4 games. I'm pretty sure he's done less than 6. And then again, people forget that midfield trio haven't even really played half a season together with Szoboszlai's injury, Endo taking time to get into it. I think that was really refreshing to see the fact that quite what I would class as our middle of the road starting 11 really took the game to Man City's top 11, and we took them. So that was good. It was good to see. It was very enjoyable. I mean, before we get into the decisions in the chat, everybody's getting excited. What a goal. Cap Allen said they couldn't. Ooh, they couldn't, could they? Spenny's hoping, ooh, suit you, sir. Suit you. Ooh. And Spenny fan said there's a minimum of 6 minutes. Remember, that means minimum. So if you waste time in injury time, that gets added on because it's the minimum time to try and reduce time wasted. But yeah, really awesome performance. Disappointed that we didn't pick up 3 points because I thought we could have. But you did mention there, Daniel, karate kicks. Are those now legal? Are we allowing karate kicks in the Premier League? I'm going to start with you, Sam. Sam, are you a fan of a karate kick? Should we just let that one fly, or do we think potentially that's not really allowed?
With the rules, who knows anymore? They make it up as they go along. I don't think there's anything for karate kicks. Yeah, it was a penalty. I saw it on the replay and went, yeah, they're gonna give this. But I was thinking rationally, so that obviously didn't happen. No, he's made the mistake, hasn't he? He wanted to go for the head, and he pulled out of the header, and then he's gone in, tried to pull, but then went again, and it's just you can't have your foot up there. You just can't. And again, I think it's one. I don't know where the referee's position was, but I think it's one. He's like, I ain't making that decision. Yeah, I ain't making that decision at Anfield in 90 plus minutes. I'll leave that to the boys upstairs because they've got a great record with these. Yeah, penalty.
And they went, sorry, I was having a leak. What was that, chaps?
Yeah, sorry. I was doing Sean Bean impressions with Dan and Josh. I missed it completely. Sorry about that. So yeah, for me, it's a penalty all day long. But the good news is Liverpool fans are quite good at getting over this. So we won't hear about it for the next 3 to 4 months.
I'll be honest. The problem is just so often. I mean, in our games, I mean, obviously we had the karate kick from Doku. We had Odegaard, doing his best global Harlem Globetrotters impression on the pitch against us. Luis Diaz scored. I mean, in the one game, Diaz scoring a goal that was disallowed. Someone getting sent off and not even touching a player just because they're on the pitch. They're getting sent off. And then, Curtis Jones getting sent off for a challenge, which the reason why he got sent off is similar to why Doku should have been sent off. And last season, remember, Jota got sent off for the same thing, but this is acceptable. And that's it. I mean, Dan, before I have my sort of final rant and rave on it, I mean, for you, are you okay with karate kicks, or do we think we should outlaw martial arts practices in the game of football?
So you come to Daniel's son to answer that, do you? No, it needs. I don't understand how that is not seen. Where's the 50-50 in that? Is it a half foot? Is he wanting to kill him? What's the options? What do we go for? Is it just theatricals? It's a big game, so do we take that into account? Bollocks! It doesn't matter what teams are playing against who. If that happens, it's a Stonewall penalty. And I'd expect chairman, ground staff, ball boys running on and lynching the referee if that was one of those situations. Yeah, it's not on there. It should have been a Stonewall for Liverpool. Because
I sort of think if a man is jumping in the air and your foot catches him in the chest, your foot is rather high.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, did he have to puncture a lung I think, in order to get a penalty. Do we need to have somebody coughing up blood on the pitch in order for that?
This is what I mean. I don't understand what the interpretation is, because I mean there was, I think it were, I can't remember who we played. I think it was Villa, and we got fouled. We got absolutely wiped out, but he didn't. He stayed on his feet after being kicked in the shins and continued, but the referee didn't pull it back, and they ended up scoring from it. So I don't get where referees' heads are at. It goes back to what Sam's saying. It's a case of referees are sort of protected themselves because they know full well, I'll let, if there is something, they'll say, "Oh, there's something you need to have a look at." How they don't see that is beyond me. Like I say, must have gone for a slash.
It is. I mean, from what I've done sort of reading and whatnot, and apparently VAR did say something. Michael Ovison, no, I can see it. It's fine, because if he didn't see it, then VAR can go back to it. Because there's a lot of confusion over what VAR can and can't do.
Well, is this what VAR has been brought in for? Just to create another show on Sky, so referees actually have a voice. If you had a voice, just use it wisely. Use it wisely by actually standing up for. I'm going to the Roy Keane route. Stand up, do your job.
Do your job. Do your job.
I mean, it's bad. It's bad.
I mean, I think if it was given, would anyone be outraged? No. So
if that's the difference, though, Josh, I'll ask you this: if that's the difference of getting a penalty and you put that away, you win the league off the back of that. Because these are little points you could look at and say Arsenal win it, and you're like, shit, we were only a point behind. We'd have had 2 extra points if it wasn't for X amount of decisions.
And because of when it was in the game as well. And that's because a lot of people, I mean, like I said, I've been speaking to all the Twitter crazies, and if you're watching, hello, get that napkin, dry up your drool, because you're probably soaking your phone or your keyboard. But I get people are sort of saying, oh, well, we don't want VAR re-ref in the game. And I sort of think it's not re-ref in the game, because they're not going back in time. It's live. The game's already stopped. At that point in time, they can check it. And as I said, if they can't do it at Stockley Park, turn Sky on, pay £850 a month to get a Sky package, and watch it, because they will have that replay for you, and they will play it 8 million times within the first 10 seconds. You can make that decision. I don't think anyone would object about VAR intervening in clear and obvious decisions. And when people say, well, what defines clear and obvious? If you need to ask that again, clean the drool up off your face and live in the world, because that's a crazy statement in of itself. And I think the guys mentioned in the chat earlier, there's a lot of grey areas, and there's a lot of there's so many grey areas that doesn't help the refs. And there's a lot of rules that are open to interpretation. Again, because I think it's on the Arsenal game, Trossard got choked out in the box. Where I think it was a corner. Someone grabbed him grabbed the strip on the neck and dragged him to the floor. And stuff like that. If you remember, was it last season? Holding in the box was going to be something retaken, or a yellow card. And that lasted for like half hour, because the refs were like, that's a lot of effort in enforcing that, isn't it? And they dropped that one. And that's what I think. And there does need to be an element of subjectivity, so you can judge something on its individual merits. But it's a little bit like speeding, like in a 50, if it's 50 is the limit. If you're going 53 or 54, you're breaking the law. However, if it's a big open stretch, there's nobody around, and your wife's in labour in the back of the car, a police officer can make that decision that, in this instance, that's not right. However, here is the line. And then if he decides, actually, no, I can keep to that, this is where we are, he can then enforce it. But then they would say, if you hit 55, you're then taking the piss a little bit, and then there's a cut off. So you can have that element then, where there can be an element of subjectivity. But as I said, when you're managing to kick someone in the chest when they're jumping in the air, that's a high boot. When you grab someone around the throat and drag them to the floor, that's a foul. And then again, the confusion, just for clarity, doesn't matter if you get the ball. For serious and dangerous play, Whether you get the ball, that's completely irrelevant. Otherwise, you can just run and do a John McGinn and hoof people up in the air absolutely everywhere as long as you take the ball with you. It's not an argument if they hit the ball first. I
was going to say, Josh, why don't they add what they have in cricket? You know, where you can sort of review it during an actual match. You know, you can just say, right, no, we want to have that reviewed.
Yeah.
The problem is you've still got the guys making the decision, haven't you? So you can revert your review, and then you're still going to the same idiots up there that will then go with what the referee said to begin with. So it's down to the officiating, it's down to the guy on the field, and it's down to those and really as an interpretation. There's just so much interpretation with these rules. And I say Spenny Fan Chris makes a great thing. In rugby, they do a great job. Very, very rarely do you see decisions. And let's be honest, rugby is a lot more technical and a lot more difficult, I think, actually, to get these right than it is for football. I think the football laws are fairly straightforward in most cases, take handball and offside, but rugby deal with a lot of confusing situations. I mean, I still don't understand the rugby offside rule, but you know, no one seems to complain and gets on with it. So there's something we can certainly learn from it, but I don't think we have the right people in the right places that are willing to learn and want to know. I think they're two in their ways, and this is we know best.
There's such an arrogance, isn't there? I mean, like Michael Oliver was like, you said to the VR, no, I saw it. I know I was right. But you weren't, but he was wrong. And it's that, and I think that's a football thing. I mean, if you look, like I said, I mean, all the Twitter crazies that I get engaged with, there's a lot of arrogance in that this is my opinion and I am right. Anything that you say that is differentiates from this is wrong. And there's a lot of that in sort of, I mean, Klopp's quite guilty of it. Pep's guilty of it. A lot of the managers are, because they've got to have that certainness, but there's no flexibility. And that's when you watch some of the referee performances, and they have to be, you have to be confident.
Is that just referees in general though? Because I mean, obviously we've all probably got a mate who's gone into refereeing and they've said how much you have to kiss arse basically to get to where, you know, the levels of where they are. It's just, it's beyond the joke how these people can call themselves professionals, professional referees, but yet, you know, if we went to our workplace and messed up, you know, we can't say, oh, well, it weren't me, it weren't us, didn't do it. You know, they go check the security, they go check cameras, they check the security, they'd be like, well, look, we've got this clip here, it is you. You know, and they'd get it right. So why can't it be seen right when you've got not only people in a room watching it on 16, 17 different cameras, but you've got the eyes of the world watching as well.
Yeah, and then
we saw you karate kick that bloke in the hallway. We've seen you. We've got you banged to rights.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you said, there's 4 refs on the pitch, right? And then I think there's 3 in Stockley Park. I think 2 or 3. So that's like 7 people watching the game.
Yeah, because you've got the VAR guy, then you've got the assistant VAR guy, then the assistant's assistant. And I'm thinking, right, so how far down before we get to the tea lady? Like, what's crack here?
And it's the restraints. They've tried to sort of put restraints in place. And I think, just, you know what, we're at a point where I don't like a portion of blame on the referees all the time, because it's not fair. They're people. They're people trying to do their job, and so it's not fair that you sort of put the blame. But their job is so high profile. And it's so important to what goes on in the game. It's so integral that they get it all right, that if there's a facility to help them, bollocks to whether, we can't redo a yellow card, or we can't. It doesn't matter. Help them, because I can't imagine it's nice being berated each week. You know, when Dermot Gallagher's having to point out that, you probably got that one wrong. You know, and people like Kyle Walker in his Sky video, which is very weird, basically mocking Michael Oliver, you know, sort of saying, oh, is it a penalty? Oh, I'm not going to say it's a penalty. You know, basically insinuating, we got away with that one. I'm really glad.
From the guy who didn't even mention to his wife about having another kid. Like, come on, who is he?
That was an accident, mate. That was an accident. He fell on her.
Of course he did.
You know, he said that in the Sun, so it's all accurate.
He's sitting outside while his missus is chucking bags out, and he's like, "Look, seriously, just give me 5 minutes. I swear, just 5 minutes. Look, I'll show you."
I think you're right. It's the help that the referees need, because, as you say, it isn't. It isn't easy, and the high profile. It's so high profile. There's so much pressure on the situation. This as the matches get on, that was the most. To be fair, probably the most important match of the season so far in the Premier League.
Oh, big time, yeah.
You've also got they're out there on their own with a cauldron of stadium that are baying for blood one way or the other, with players that are on them every 20 seconds about everything. So they need the person, they need that support. So it's difficult enough. And I get they're professionals, it's their job, they have to do it. And it is a difficult thing for anyone to progress in a career because of, as well, the abuse coming from the sides, abuse in the stadiums and things like that. So they've got all of that to contend with. So that's where they need the help. And that's where there is kind of a mix of, we'll back you when we shouldn't really be backing you. And then there's this other case, we're not with you when we need to be with you. The whole
changing the rules every year doesn't help as well, because that just pisses around. Right, where do I stand? Can I still do this? Can I do that?
Look at the handball rule. I mean, how many times has that changed over the last 10 years? And it's still not right. It's still not right. We still don't know if it's outside your character. If you were laid down in a murder scene, is it outside of your caricature and all of this nonsense? Like, we just don't know. We don't know. So how the referee, and that's things like that. Everyone's like, well, that's a handball. And the refs are like, well, by the law, it isn't. But the law's stupid on that as well. So I'm stuffed before I begin.
It's not. It shouldn't be a talking point. We've got the facility exists, and people just need to, I think, lose that arrogance that, when they say, oh, but refs make the right decision 98% of the time, or 99%. But then they get that 1% wrong, which, as I said, in this game, if you then add in the Arsenal game as well, and you say Havertz should have been sent off, for example, that's 2 games. Potentially, you could be costing 4 points in a title race that is going to come down very likely to 2 points. And that shouldn't be. And if all that takes is to allow somebody in who's looking at it on a screen to say, no, this should be the right decision, that's great. Let him do that, because then, do you know what we're talking about now? We're talking about what a smashing game of football. What an exciting end-to-end game that was won in the right way, and everything went absolutely fantastic. And you're not speaking about the referees. And if anything,
do you think it's also a problem as well, because fans are gravitating towards more and more when something like that happens, as not the excuse, but that then becomes their entire focus. They forget about the game, and they don't want to talk about the things, the other moments, the chances, the bit that we all love about football, about the goals and things that happen, excellent save, something like that. It's all the talk I saw today where, there was the bits I was quite interested in were people sort of talking about some performances and things like Luis Diaz. They were talking about in kind of that he was absolutely phenomenal in some aspects of his game, but missed some massive chances. And there were those moments that were also just as key in the game, reality, because there was a massive moment where Liverpool should have got a penalty right at the end, and that makes a massive difference because that's dead. You score the penalty, it's over. There's no guarantee you're scoring the penalty as well. Let's be honest, that can happen. Salah's still got a couple.
I know. I was going to say Salah was on the pitch.
To be fair, and Salah was there since while he's one of the best players Premier League's ever seen. On a penalty, you're never sure. But then you had these other kind of moments, and it distracts away, and then all the Sky asked Klopp about it afterwards. It's all about that. And it's got to be exhausting for everybody as well, because it's just everything's negative. As you say, so many fantastic moments in the game, fantastic things to discuss, like an epic tactical battle, the last time between Klopp and Guardiola, the pace of the game. And again, it comes down to everybody talking about people in Stockley Park.
Because I enjoyed the fact that Pep got it wrong tactically for a large portion. I was looking forward to giving him absolute shit and reveling in the fact that he proved me right yet again, that tactically he is not as astute as everybody thinks. But instead, you end up on the wrong thing. I mean, a lot in the chat here, and as I said, in tennis and cricket, both sides are given 2 to 3 chances in a match for a TMO bid out to check an event. Would that be good?
Trust me, line calls in tennis are more contentious than any of this. Don't you worry about
that. I'm too scared to get involved. Someone's saying the TMO works in rugby because there's questions like, I think this is a try. Is there any reason that I can't give it? Shiv saying, I think these referees need to watch how officiating VAR was done in AFCON. Those referees were excellent throughout the tournament and the World Cup.
I totally agree, because maybe if they do cut a game on the 87th minute, Burnley might actually get 3 points. Hey!
There you go. Get in. Everyone's a winner. Captain, do you agree with mic'd up refs? Luke say the mic'd up refs is
I love that.
would use it as a silly prop. They'd be there going like, Mister.
Do you reckon any of them have realised either that there's no one at the other end? They've just been chattering away all season.
Well, do you know what was I was watching this thing on Sky, and they had Jay Rodriguez in there talking to, like, I think it's David O'Leary, and he said, "Do you think the referee was saying, I don't really want to give this because I don't want to end this game on like a contentious note?" Which, first of all, what a stupid comment to make in the first instance. But David O'Leary went, "Well, if he was having that conversation, he was having it on his own to himself." It's just superb. I thought that was really cool. I think Mike up refs is dangerous because footballers swear a lot. But then yellow card, dissent, as you should. Yellow card, bad language, as you should. Yellow card, imaginary cards, as you should. And, officiate the game in the way that the laws that you said you're going to implement. All goes away. All goes away. But, I mean, I think, do you want to put any more of the will to rights in regard to that? Or shall we just say what a fabulous game of football between two fabulous teams that did fabulously well, and it'll be a shame we won't see the likes of these games again.
Well, what a title race, I think, is the last thing to add to it as well. It's really made it really exciting. Obviously, Arsenal City's to come. There's some. There's still got how many games we wait? 10 games now, aren't we? So it's very tight.
Spurs, Everton, and United are three teams that are going to have such a big say. They'll either play in 2 or 3 of these top 3, and they're all teams that you'd never know what sort of performance they're going to pull out the bag. So it's too exciting for me, too tense. I don't enjoy it.
Could decide the title, Big Johnny.
Could you, Matt? Honestly, my nerves, when I see nerves on the back of the cars, I just cannot cope. It's difficult.
Player of the season, Big Johnny.
But Johnny, it's all exciting time, because this is where we'll get rid of this little Hujima Watts it at the top there. This is where that leaves us. So as those are all the games. We've gone through all of them. And what a show that we went through them all in. It's Arsenal at the top there and 64 points. Liverpool on 64. And as a sidebar to the Arsenal social media team, you can't post "it's lonely at the top" when you're joint on points. That's a silly thing to say. It's only goal difference. Silly billies. There's Arsenal and Liverpool joined at the top, separated by goal difference, with Arsenal leading the pack there. Man City just 1 point behind. Just 1 point behind. And then 8 points behind, that was very quick maths, is Aston Villa in 4th place. Tottenham Hotspur 2 points behind in 5th. Man United 6 points behind of Tottenham Hotspur, who do have a game in hand as well. Are you going to be battling for that top 4 place, or are you going to after the mighty Europa League, Sam?
No, we're not playing well enough to give me confidence that we can win the games that we need to win and the games that we've got as well. So on the reverse, we've got Liverpool and Arsenal, who we know play well against the top teams in recent times. So it's too much of a gap. Those games for us are probably the ones I think that define whether Ten Hag will stay or not. I think that's that. There's 2 things for us this season. It's the FA Cup for the week before you probably knock us out next week at Old Trafford. I don't think we're holding much hope the way we're playing. And the only thing is that's the lesser of all the things you want. That's the only hope, potentially.
Certainly is.
And I think the other is what do we do in those games that kind of say, okay, we're moving forward, or no, we're still miles behind. So they're the 2 things I'm looking through. I can't see the Champions League. My Champions League Manchester United mug is in the cupboard and not anticipated to be out in 2025.
The optimism. And Shivs are giving us a breakdown of some of the games, because it's a shorter weekend next weekend, so you never know. We might end up with a lesser than 2 hours show, but that seems just to be the way that we're rolling. But people keep watching till the bitter end, so if you're doing it, we're doing it. I mean, the only other exciting, I mean, Newcastle United in 10th, disappointing. I'm sure they'll be very disappointed there with Wolves in 9th, Brighton 8th, West Ham 7th behind Manchester United. But down at the bottom, Sheffield United basically probably done for. really. Burnley down there. I mean, despite both getting the point, you're both still down there, unfortunately, on 14. 7 points behind Luton Town, who do have a game in hand against Nottingham Forest, who are above them by 3 points. So that is certainly a big game that is coming up next weekend. And then Everton are 16th on 25 points, only 1 point behind Brentford on 26. However, there's still points deductions potentially coming for Everton and Nottingham Forest, whose fans I'm sure will be pleased to hear that the likelihood is, as of next season, all the financial rules shall be changed. Just because, that's how they roll. Which, incidentally, very quickly, chaps, allowed to spend a percentage of your revenue on transfers, potentially up to 80%. Personally, I think that is one of the most craziest things I think I've seen, and could be quite damaging for a lot of clubs because it's not debt management as it currently is. But Sam, are you behind revenue percentages being used? It could help United out.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I look at it as what's best for football these days. It's what is the best decision for football if it benefits us or not. You can't keep having this, and you can't keep changing the rules to match the powers. Everyone's sick of it in life. Everyone's sick of it in football, and let's change the rules. No, sorry, you've got to deal with the rules and the breakers of the current rules. Let's sort all of that nonsense out. That's what everybody wants more than let's come up with this new great idea to distract everybody again. Same as we've got this new format for the Champions League. We've got the Super League. We've got this, that, and the other. You've got 115 charges for the biggest cheats in the country. Sort it out, and then we'll deal with everything else. So revenues, whatever, just get it done, and sort out the existing rules and what's going on with that. Then maybe we'll throw some credence behind new proposals of new rules. So frustrating, I think, again.
And Dan, do you want your credence thrown as, or are you with it, or are you against it, or do you just not care?
We're not even going to be around to see it next season, so who gives a shit?
You're just interested in those parachutes. Keep those parachutes.
I'm just happy there's no VAR. Ball hits the back of the net. We've got no dramas. Celebrate, jump around. It's the Championship is so much better.
It's a good league.
You get to wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. But that is the Premier League. Obviously, we'll do a fairly swiftish round robin of the European League. Sam, tell us all about La Liga.
What about La Liga? Real Madrid won again. 4-0. Bellingham was suspended, but they still got the victory over Celta Vigo. They're still well top. They had a bit of a wobble in the old Championes Ligios in midweek. Leipzig gave them a right scare. So Real Madrid, in the end, it came on. It was all right in the end for Real Madrid. Girona just hanging on. They're not falling away, to be fair. They're still sort of digging away, and they got a win 2-0 this weekend as well against that Osasuna. I think they beat Barcelona. So I've got my Barca top on today. They've gone on a bit of an unbeaten streak. I think that's 8 or 9 Barcelona. So they put themselves in a reasonable position, look like they're third, because Atletico Madrid went and did something very silly. We talk about silliness a lot on the pod, but losing to Cadiz is very silly.
Oh,
very
so
silly. Such a silly thing to do. Just so silly. And probably the biggest news out of everything else still, Almeria. They're running out of time. To record a victory. It's not looking good.
Not. I mean, and I did look. I'm not sure if you were on when I spoke about it, whatever show it was. Elche actually won their game in February. Their first game they won in February. So wow. They've already surpassed that. Elche. They are probably not looking very good, are they?
It's not looking good. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, they got a draw with Sevilla today, but it's not enough. It's not enough. That was in the last minute. They were 1-0 up going in the last 10 minutes. Sevilla turned it back round. No, it's sad. I know you don't want to see any team go without a win all season because, that's just sad. It's just sad for the fans that turn up every week that do it and still haven't seen a victory. We've been doing this for a long time since August. It's all September, I suppose, La Liga. But
so silly.
It's so silly. So we live in hope for that Almeria can just get
they
one.
can stop being silly.
We're not greedy. We're not unfair. We just want a win for Almeria, please.
And you know, Shiv might be controversial. Not a big fan of La Liga. He thinks it's too slow.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's not a problem. Almeria probably think it's too slow as well. Speed it up. Speed it up, please.
They win games hand over fist. And apparently Cap Aled lives in Hope.
Oh, it's a nice place.
No, and my grandfather used to go to the Hope Baptist Church. So God also lived in Hope. That was his house. Moving on to another league with silly teams, with silly Napoli. Last season's winner, silly Napoli, drawing with Torino, so leaving him down in 7th place. So many points behind. So many points behind Inter Milan, who've got 75. Do you know what? There's such a big gap. That is fast maths that I can't even do. I can't even work out the difference off the top of my head. I'm up to 16. I think I'm on to like 21. Am I close? I'm not even close, am I? That's not even right.
16. It's 16.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
So
between Inter and Milan?
No, between Inter and Napoli.
There's only one space, Dan, between Inter and Milan. Silly.
No.
One character count. But Inter Milan at the top, 75 points. They beat one of Charlotte's favourites, Spag Bologna. Bologna. They beat 1-0. Charlotte, I'm sure she was devastated, but because she I was going to say she wants to give one to Bolognese, but she wants to have one. She wants to have a Bolognese. Dear me. And this weekend, another team that was so silly was Lecce, or as we like to call it, the old Lecce. The Lecce went down. They switched off, and not just that they switched off, they've kicked their manager out to boot as well. No more manager for Lecce. The Lecce board has no head of the table.
It was. Did you see the incident itself?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I know 3 people have spotted it in the chat, but for anyone who's listening who didn't see it, the Lecce manager head-butted at the end of the game a Verona player. I mean, you can't headbutt anyone in general in life. That's a genuine rule. You can't do it as a football player. As a football manager, to headbutt one of the opposing players. Roberto De Versa, I bet he wishes he could reverse that decision, doesn't he? Jesus.
So silly.
We talked about silliness. That's just absurd. There's losing your head. That's crazy. So
he'd have been fine if karate kicked him.
Yeah,
he's been all right. He's a big Marco Materazzi fan. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what? He should have went martial arts instead of mixed martial arts.
That's what it is.
That was his problem. So I mean, so Charlotte, there is a window of opportunity open there for you, and they would love you there. They would love how you pronounce their city. That would go down a treat, I can assure you. Get down there, Shah. Get down there, Shah. And I mean, Inter at the top. Shiv said Inter too good. They are bossing the league at the moment. And what else happened? Anything of interest? Really, let's see what we've got in the chat. Luke saying, look how many draws Udinese have. 15 draws. That's a lot of draws. And did they draw this weekend? I can't even see them. Where are Udinese? Udinese there. I don't know where there's Udinese. No, not there. Maybe they're playing now. Who knows? Who knows?
Tonight. Just checking they beat Lazio tonight. They didn't get a draw tonight. They beat Lazio away from home as well.
And Juve seems to be throwing away any. They were challenging Inter for a period, but they've thrown that away. But Milan is nice to see. It's a little bit of nostalgia to see Inter at the top, Milan second, Juve third. Mine's just of a simpler time. Mine's a beautiful time. And then Spag Bologna in 4th, Roma in 5th. Haven't really done anything since getting rid of Jose Mourinho. They've stayed in exactly the same position, more or less. At Atalanta in 6th. And last season's winners, runaway winners, Napoli in 7th. Oh my days. Oh my days. And the team I can never say properly in 20th, Sultana Rana Nana, which Sam always then corrects me.
What, Salty Nana?
You salty Nana. Oh, Bevel, you salty Nana. Saltarina? How do you say it?
I don't know what's worse, Josh.
Salah.
My actual nana was called Beryl.
So was mine. That's where I got it from.
Was it?
Do you know my grandmother's dead? If yours is alive, it's not the same person.
Oh no. She's she's passed.
Oh my god, we could have the same grandmother.
Yeah.
Granny Beryl from Salernitana.
Because I'm sure there was only one grandmother called Bevel. But then Swaswa Swallow in 19th, the Frozone in 18th from the Incredibles, and Udinese in 17th, isn't it? And that doesn't help me. So
Salernitana, yeah.
I can't say it. I really struggle. I don't know what it is.
Just too slightly battered, please.
The good news for you, Josh, is they're not getting relegated to Serie B, so next season you might not have this issue.
I've struggled every week for the whole season so far. I just haven't got it right. But over to the Bundesliga. Some notable things happening. Charlotte's giving me shit. Where is she there? She can say something. Look at that. Birthday girl. I'll let you get away with that today, you big bully. Something to make Sam happy. Guess who scored for Borussia Dortmund?
Guess who played for Borussia Dortmund? I'm always surprised to see him on a football pitch.
It is Jadon Sancho scoring what everyone
that transfer fee up, Jadon. Come on.
Everyone raved. What a standalone! What a standalone goal! He took it himself. He dribbled past. I can tell you this for free. He didn't lift his head up once. He was no way on God's green earth was he doing anything other than dribbling. So one of two things was going to happen. He was going to dribble in and take a shot, and then who knows? Or he was just going to run the ball out to play and get tackled. He had no vision. His head did not come up at any point. I'm not praising him for that. Mad skills. It was a really well taken goal, mad skills. But if he was part of my team, I'd be raging at him. I'd be like, pretend there's like 10 other players on the pitch, you lunatic. But that was Borussia Dortmund winning 2-1 against Werder Bremen, which is an enjoyable game. Which game was it? I think it was Eintracht Frankfurt. I want to double check myself before I commit. I believe, yes, it was Eintracht Frankfurt Hoffenheim. Eintracht Frankfurt won 3-1. It was the 125th anniversary of being a football team. They went 1-0 down pretty quickly against Hoffenheim, but then managed to come back and win 3-1. I'm going to check. You know what? I could check quite easy if it's the right game. Yes, it was Mario Götze. Thank God for that. Mario Götze. What a game. What a game. It's like the Götze of old, the old goat. Sir, and even scored a goal just for good measure. What I particularly liked is every time they scored a goal, they played this old like German orchestra music. It was like really operatic. It was quite super. It was like such a surreal experience to watch that game. So you should check it out just for like the old style kit that they played in, and very very vintage German. Could be quite jarring depending on how old you are to watch a replay of that game. Anything? What else happened? Darmstadt lost again to RB Leipzig. It was a very 3rd minute own goal. It was a cross in from a cross against the box. The defender just sort of chested it in because of reasons. And then RB Leipzig, obviously, as Sam mentioned earlier, giving Madrid a bit of a game, came back, they just dominated Darmstadt and won that game quite comfortably. What else was the interesting things that happened before we get to the two biggies? Borussia Mönchengladbach drew 3-3 with Cologne. Cologne. And Stuttgart beat Union Berlin 2-0. Union Berlin, they show peaks of performing well, and that they're going to come back and do bits, and then just don't. Then they just give up the ghost and like, no, it's just not happening. Very, very disappointing there. But of course, there were 2 big games, big scoring games as well. Bayern Munich 8, Mans 1, and Harry Kane with a hat trick. 30 goals now he scored. 30 goals in 25 games. First ever player to score 4 hat tricks in his first season in the Bundesliga. And I'll be honest with you, played really well. And I think he's the sort of similar to the Harry Kane of Spurs in that he gets on the pitch a little bit and he sets up. He had an assist as well for, I want to say, it was Musiala's goal. I think he had an assist for beautiful curve ball that he sent in. And I think he's found a really fun place to play. At Bayern, despite the fact that they're not performing as I have done previously and could potentially not win, he's really enjoyed it, doing really well. Serge Gnabry, spinning back heel goal is unbelievable. Ball across in, he jumped, span his back to goal, back heeled it in, like, ooh. Did one of them. I think he made that noise too. Ooh, as he back heeled it in. Superb goal. You got to what it was. And Amiri's goal from Mance as well was a free kick. Beautiful free kick. It was a game of goals, a game of superb goals. Certainly worth checking it out. And but did it account to anything? Did it really matter in the title race? Only in that it did keep the pressure on Bayer Leverkusen, who are still 10 points ahead. 10. If you watch NXT, 10. And because Leverkusen, they did win 2-0 with former Southampton winger Nathan Teller scoring again the decisive goal. Leverkusen was.
I don't know if Josh even knows he just dug at Dan with that at all. Was that a direct dig at Dan?
It wasn't. Why? What's wrong with Nathan Teller? What did he do?
He's Burnley's best player last season in the Championship.
Is he? Oh, well, he's doing really well. He's scoring loads of goals. Oh, I tell you, what a player. What a player. He's having a great time.
Those were the days.
Yeah, no, he's got a great little goal there. I can't remember who set him up. Oh, Grimaldo. Yeah, Grimaldo. What a season he's having as well. Assists and goals for days. A beautiful cross across, lovely head by Nathan Teller. And then Florian Wirtz, just because he enjoys scoring a goal, scored a goal at the 86th minute. And Leverkusen were then 2-0 winners, which kicks them at the top of the table, which leaves the beautiful Xavi Alonso on the verge of Leverkusen's, what I believe might be their first Bundesliga victory. And that sits the table as Leverkusen on top on 67 points, with Bayern Munich 10 points below them, and 5 points below them are Stuttgart, and 6 points below them are Dortmund, with 1 point ahead of Leipzig, who are 6 points ahead of Eintracht Frankfurt, who are 7 points ahead of Hoffenheim, who are on the same points of Freiburg, who are 1 point ahead of Augsburg, who are 2 points ahead of Werder Bremen, who are 2 points ahead of Heidenheim, who are 1 point ahead of Mönchengladbach, who are 2 points ahead of Wolfsburg, with the same points of Union Berlin, the same points of Bochum, who are 7 points ahead of Cologne, who are 2 points ahead of Mainz, who are 3 points ahead of Darmstadt, and that is the Bundesliga table. There was no SPFL that I could see this weekend. If they played the
Scottish Cup. Hearts have just gone through. Lawrence Shankland assist with 3 minutes to go. The Shankster.
Boom, Yakasha.
Actually, on BBC have actually got an interesting interview with him as well, where he talks about is his future at Hearts. He doesn't know. He loves Hearts, but maybe there's a transfer in the midst. So Shankland news every week on the Absolute Football podcast.
Big Shanks is exciting times. Where's he going to end up? The old lamb shank. Who knows? But because there weren't any SPFL games, that takes us straight to, there we are. Shah's loving it. Big Shanks. What a god. That would, I mean, Shanks, if you find yourself at a loose end this evening, it is Charlotte's birthday. Just leaving that out there. Heather's saying, did they ask about the pie incident? Does that mean anything to anyone?
Yeah, wasn't it? He caught a pie, didn't he? Someone chucked a pie at him and he caught it.
He scored from the spot, stands in front of him going like that. Someone throws his pad and he just catches it, takes a bite out of it.
As if he wasn't a big enough legend, Big Shanks goes, the state. He must have just, if there's a moment in your life, he's just like, I'm a king. I am a king, stood here.
Catching the pie and eating it. What an epic move. We've got to love Big Shanks. But that takes straight into the Eredivisie with some of the greatest team names. You always enjoy talking about the Eredivisie team names. But PSV still unbeaten. Still doing it. I mean, there wasn't a massive victory against the go-ahead Eagles. There was just a 1-0 for them today. But that still keeps them with a goal difference of 67 after scoring 80 goals in 25 games. Madness. And only conceding 13. That is just just wild. It's just wild. Almost like Warwick wild. And how did Warwick do? I don't know. Warwick won. Oh, victory for Warwick. In the words of Y. Hodgson, victory for Warwick. So it is 3-1. And isn't that lovely? Feyenoord, did Feyenoord play? I'm sure they played a football game as well. They did. They beat Hercules 3-0. I know that's not how it's pronounced. By the way, I know all of these are wrong, but they're just funny with Hercules. 20. What did 20 do? Did 20 play a game? No, 30 did. No, they beat Sparta, Rotterdam, or anywhere. Liverpool of home. Who's singing the next line? Come on, Dan.
Rotterdam or anywhere.
Anywhere
alone.
Anywhere alone. Woo-hoo. And in fourth position, we had Achsed Achmar, our most German-sounding team. They won 4-0 against Excelsior, who currently sit in 15th position. And Ajax are deciding they don't want to get relegated this season. They've got a new manager in place. They drew 2-2 with Fortuna Sittard. Oops, I mean Sittard. 2-2 victory there. It's just fun. We just have the Eredivisie here now for fun because it's such a joy. Utrecht, not Uvenary Tract, Utrecht in 8th position. What did they do? They played football against somebody. They drew 1-1 against Almere City. And I don't know what else. Anything else happened there, Sam? Anything that stands out to you?
No, I think we've covered it all. NEC Nijmegen with a 2-0 win over Heerenveen. All the E's. Battle of the E's. Heerenveen.
What a name! That's the next one I did not know. You've got Achsed Achmar, Excelsior, Fortuna Sittard, Heerenveen, and Warwick. What a league! What a league! God bless the Eredivisie and all of their many lands. And finally, then on to League. And the league where nobody really cares about because PSG destroyed it. Oil money there back in the league, but we make it interesting here on the Absolute Football Podcast. And so Brest are currently leading. Brest out in front in League One.
Brest.
Better than what?
Better than Monaco and Lille.
Better than Lens and Nice. Better than Marseille and Rennes. Ooh, and Memmies too.
What's happened to Clermont-Foot?
I feel sorry for Metz and Nantes and Lorient. Strasbourg and Montpellier, who are just below Le Havre. We're going all the way. Who are just behind Toulouse, who are behind Lyon. We've only half. We've already done them, but the name fitted so well. Boom, boom, boom. At the top is the breast. Yeah, like anyway. Dear God, what the hell is going on here? So yeah, football happened in Ligue 1, and we got to talk about apparently PSG did great again, so she likes them. And shout out to maybe I'll add them in. Maybe I'll pretend they exist next week if I'm on. Sam might not let me host anymore. You think this is just crazy, but that's what happened in Europe. You don't get that sort of comprehensive overview and intense, in-depth coverage anywhere else other than the Absolute Football Podcast.
I'd rather hear it coming from you, Josh, than seeing Gary Lineker in his pants.
Oh, would you like to see me in my pants?
Fair call.
I tell you, that's
John Cena.
Oh,
I love you, John. Keep following the pod. Do your thing.
John Cena goes and hosts the Oscars. He's like, what would Josh do given the chance at the Oscars?
He goes, what? I've taken some inspiration from the Absolute Football Podcast. What would Josh do? Aha.
And look who the winner is. Wowing! Who knew? But thank you, everybody. What a lengthy show. Your stamina amazes me. The size and strength of my bladder to keep me here for this long amazes me. But Sam, everybody wants to know, how can they follow you? Where are you, Sam?
I am at Up the FM Ducks on Twitter, on TikTok, and on the Absolute Football Podcast. And rumours, there's rumours that I might be on Thursday's show. I might be heading to the lower league this week. So, you know, I feel some carnage. I'm getting my carnage ready. Getting my carnage on. Chaos and crazy. Get ready. I'm ready for it.
I'll tell you, the world isn't ready. The world's not ready for that. I mean, Dan, one day you might have the fortune to be on the award-winning Absolutely Lower League show on a Thursday. But if people want to find you in the meantime, where are you?
Everywhere but OnlyFans. I'm like shit in a field. I am there. Literally Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere and everywhere. Liverpool and Rome. We'll go back with that again.
Because Dan Turf Morehouse is anywhere alone. And
crying
over Burnley with Kate there just stroking his hairy man chest. And if you want to follow me, I'm only really doing stuff these days on Twitter at absolutely Josh _ I am going to try to stop engaging with the crazies because it's driving me crazy and I feel my IQ drop every time I engage in a stupid conversation. So if you do catch me engaging in a debate with a nutter, say, Josh, don't be silly. Say so silly. Just don't be silly. And of course, Charlotte saying thank you so much for all the birthday wishes, everybody. And on behalf of the podcast, thank you to everybody for the kindness and the love and support that you show us, and all of the team. And obviously on Charlotte on her birthday, but also for the really positive message and support that you showed Chloe on our WSL show this week as well. It was subjected to just the dicks and the Twitter crazies. And so thank you genuinely from all of us for all the support that you showed, Chloe. It meant a lot. We're really proud and pleased of all the females we have on the team. And Chloe, I don't want to say Chloe in particular, but Chloe as well. They're all fantastic. Chloe's brilliant. But make sure you check her out. But where is she going to be if I'm talking about the WSL show? Where is that, I hear you ask? It's here. You can follow us, the podcast, Absolute Ball Pod on Twitter, Absolute Football Podcast on YouTube and Twitch, and on the tick boom. TikTok is Absolute Football Pod, where Sam works like an absolute weapon over there every single week. The work he does is absolutely immense. On Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ same with threads, and on Facebook, apart from this evening because it died, it is the Absolute Football Podcast. And on Mondays at 8:30 p.m. You obviously, if you've just seen here, we are the Absolutely Premier League show on Wednesdays. It's absolutely WSL and Women's Championship. Really enjoyable show. I would highly recommend you watch. Even if you don't follow the women's game, fabulous conversation that takes place over there. And on Thursdays, it is, in the words of Boy Hodgson, the Wowdy Wabble. On Thursday, Absolutely Lower League, the award-winning Absolutely Lower League covering the Championship and below, Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. And make sure you check them all out. And of course, I do ask you, please, on all of these, drop us a follow. If you're listening on audio, please 5-star us, message us directly, be friends. Let's all be friends and get along. But importantly as well, on the YouTube, please, it's totally free of charge. Please do click that subscribe button, because every time you subscribe, an angel gets his wings, which is such a beautiful thing to see. But thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely tip-top evening, and TTFN and ta-ta for now. I didn't click end screen. Sorry.